She called the cops and screamed, "He's trespassing!" But I was standing on my own driveway. The dust rose like smoke from the bulldozer's tires as I dropped my coffee cup. My name's Jake Turner, and 2 weeks ago I bought this broken-down lake mansion. Old bricks, cracked windows, but mine. Every cent I'd saved after my Army service went into this place. But right now, 3 men in bright vests were tearing down the front porch like it was junk. A woman in a sun hat stood across the fence, hands on hips, smirking like she owned the whole lake. "This property violates HOA Code 9B, unsafe structure. We're clearing it out." Her voice was sharp, cold, the kind that didn't ask, it ordered. I blinked. "Ho? There's no ho here." The county records, she cut me off. "I am the HOA president. You can't live here until we approve your renovations." I almost laughed. "Lady, this place has been abandoned for 10 years. You're demolishing my front deck." She turned to the workers. "Keep going," boards cracked. My chest burned. "Stop," I shouted, stepping forward. Then 2 local cops walked up, hands resting on their belts. She waved at them like she owned them too. "Officers, remove this man from the property." The older cop frowned. "Ma'am, he says he owns it." She handed him a paper, all neat and official looking. "Fake deed. He's squatting." The cop looked at me, then the mess behind me. "Sir, we're gonna need you to step aside." I could feel my pulse in my jaw. "That's my name on the document. Jake Turner. I have the sale agreement inside my truck." The woman smirked again. "Truck? Oh, that rusty thing parked on our street? We'll have it towed too." For a second I wanted to explode, but instead I smiled, the kind of smile that scared people back in the service. Because she had no idea who she was messing with. She thought I was some broke veteran clinging to a broken house. She didn't know the one thing I never lost after the Army: documentation, video evidence, and a few friends in the sheriff's department. As the bulldozer roared again, I whispered, "Keep digging, Karen. You're about to hit something you can't bury." The wind howled off the lake as her men lifted their tools again, and I quietly reached for the dash cam inside my truck. The dash cam light blinked red, catching every splinter of wood and every smug tilt of her sunglasses. I let it roll while I walked toward my truck, calm as stone. The cops were watching me like I might snap. But I'd learned long ago that silence makes louder noise than shouting ever could. Karen crossed her arms. "You have 60 seconds before I file a report for trespassing." I didn't even look at her. I opened the glove box, pulled out the sealed folder with the county seal still pressed into the paper. "Here's the real deed," I said, setting it gently on the hood. "You can read, right?" One of the officers took it, glanced through the first page, and his eyebrows lifted. "This looks legit." Karen snatched it from his hands, waving it like a flag. "It's forged. We already have approval from the HOA committee to reclaim abandoned property." That word, reclaim, hit me. "Reclaim? You mean steal?" She smiled without blinking. "You bought a ghost house, sweetheart. The lake belongs to us." The second cop shifted uncomfortably. "Ma'am, this isn't adding up. There's no active HOA registered here." Karen's voice turned sweet, fake like plastic fruit. "I'll make a few calls. You'll see." She walked off toward her car, phone glued to her ear. I watched her go, heart pounding, slow but steady. Inside I was boiling. 10 years in the military taught me 2 things. Never panic and never show your full hand first. I turned to the officer still holding my papers. "Mind if I show you something?" I tapped my phone screen and pulled up the county website. "Right here, parcel number 44LM203, my name. Recorded last week." He leaned closer. "That's county verified." Just then the rumble of a tow truck rolled down the hill. Karen was back, waving for it to stop. "That's his truck. Tow it." I stepped forward fast. "Touch it and that's vehicle theft." The driver hesitated. Karen glared at him. "Do it!" And then my phone buzzed. A text from my old Army buddy, now Sheriff Dale Morris. "Heard some noise at your property. You okay? Want backup?" I stared at Karen, who was now shouting at the tow driver, and typed back one word. "Yes." 5 minutes later, the sound of a second set of sirens echoed through the trees. The kind that didn't answer to her fake rules. Karen's smirk faded. She looked around, confused, as a black SUV with sheriff markings pulled up beside the gate. And the man who stepped out didn't even look at her. He looked straight at me, nodded once, and said, "Jake, want to tell me what these people are doing on your land?" Karen's face went pale. Your land?" she stammered. I folded my arms. "That's what I've been saying. The sheriff raised a brow at her paperwork, then tore it in half without reading. This isn't county issued. For the first time, she had no words. I could see something shift behind her eyes. Panic. But I knew this wasn't over. People like her didn't quit. They regrouped. They plotted. And I could already feel the next storm coming. One she'd start and one I'd finish. Karen didn't say a word as the sheriff's SUV rolled away, but I could see her jaw twitching. That fake smile was gone. Now she just stared at me like I'd stolen something that was hers. I stood there in the fading light, dust settling over the broken porch, the lake glowing orange behind us. For a second, it almost felt quiet. Almost. Then she turned to her men. "Pack it up," she hissed. "We'll deal with this legally." I knew that tone, as it wasn't over. It was a threat wrapped in a promise. Later that night, I was sitting on the steps of what was left of my porch, watching the reflection of my half-broken mansion ripple in the lake. My phone buzzed again. Sheriff Dale. "She's trouble, Jake. Her name's Karen Holt. Used to run a homeowners group 2 towns over. Got shut down for fake fines and property scams. You want me to press charges?" "Not yet," I said. "She's gonna dig her own hole. I'll make sure of it." He paused. "You still keep cameras running?" "Always," I said, glancing at the blinking red light on my dash cam through the truck window. Next morning, I woke up to the sound of pounding again. Not hammers this time, but fists on my front door. I opened it to find 2 men in suits holding clipboards. One of them handed me a folded notice. "Mr. Turner, under emergency HOA compliance review, you're required to vacate the property until safety inspection is complete." I laughed. "You're kidding me." They weren't. The paper had her fake logo printed at the top again, but this time it looked more official. They'd used the county seal, copied and pasted. I took the notice, held it up to the light, and smiled. "You forged this. You know that's a felony, right?" The man hesitated. "Ma'am said she had permission." "Ma'am?" I repeated, stepping closer. "You mean Karen Holt?" He nodded slowly. I reached into my pocket and hit record on my phone. "Say that again. Who sent you?" He swallowed. "Karen Holt." "Good," I said. That's all I needed. That night, I emailed the video straight to Sheriff Dale, along with the forged document, dash cam footage, and a few still shots from my property cameras. He replied within minutes. "She's crossing lines now. Sit tight, Jake. Let me make a few calls," but I couldn't sit tight, because just as I hit send, I noticed something strange through my window. A car parked down the road. Lights off, engine humming, and even from that distance, I could see her silhouette behind the wheel. Karen just sitting there, staring at the house. She didn't come to argue. She came to watch, and the scariest part, she was smiling again. I didn't know it yet, but by morning that smile would cost me more than I could imagine. I barely slept that night. Every creak in the walls felt like footsteps. Every car passing on the distant road made my pulse jump. At 3:12 a.m., I finally grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside. The air smelled like rain and old wood, but what caught me off guard was the gate. Wide open. I knew I'd locked it. I swung the beam across the driveway. My truck was there. The tools I'd left by the porch were gone. The padlock on the shed was snapped clean off. I whispered under my breath, "She wouldn't," but deep down I knew she would. By sunrise, the damage was clear. Every window on the lower floor was shattered. The generator was missing. And someone had spray painted across the front wall in big red letters. "Unsafe property. HOA notice." I took pictures of everything, sent them straight to the sheriff. He texted back right away, "Heading your way." Stay inside. I didn't stay inside. I went straight to the lake, where tire tracks led down the dirt slope. There, half submerged in the mud, were my missing tools. Chainsaws, extension cords, buckets, dumped like garbage. And sitting on the far dock, with a cup of coffee and a smug little smile, was Karen. "Morning, Jake," she said, without even turning her head. "Shame about your windows. These old houses, they just fall apart, don't they?" "You did this," she shrugged. "Can you prove that?" I took a slow breath. "I can now." I pointed at the tiny black dot above her, a camera I'd hidden under the boathouse ledge the day I bought this place. Her smile faltered for the first time. "Still think this is your lake?" I said softly. She stood up fast. "You don't scare me." I've shut down bigger people than you. Yeah, I said, but you haven't met anyone like me. Before she could answer, a car engine roared behind us. Sheriff Dale's cruiser skidded to a stop on the gravel. Two deputies jumped out, hands already on their radios. Karen tried to speak first. Officer, this man... Quiet, Dale snapped. We've got your fingerprints on the forged notice, your car on camera last night, and your signature on a fake inspection order. For a moment, everything froze. Then she laughed. You can't arrest me. The HOA board will... There is no board, Dale said. You're the only one. That was the moment her face changed, and from smug to scared. But before they could cuff her, she glanced at me and whispered something that sent a chill through my spine. This isn't over, Jake. You don't know who's really behind this. And the way she said it, calm, confident, made me realize she wasn't bluffing. Because just then, Dale's radio crackled and a voice came through. Sheriff, county records just updated. The deed for that lake property, it's been flagged for investigation. Says there's a second owner. I froze. What? Karen smiled again. Told you. My stomach twisted when I heard those words. Second owner. Dale looked at me, then back at his radio, trying to piece it together. Repeat that, he said. The voice crackled again. Record shows an additional name added this morning. Filed electronically at 5:42 a.m. Karen tilted her head, her smile stretching like it was rehearsed. You didn't think I was doing this alone, did you? I stepped forward. Whose name did you add? She didn't answer. She just turned toward the lake, watching the sunlight rise across the water like she owned it. Dale's deputy was already calling the county clerk, trying to confirm. I heard snippets, something about a notarized file, a transfer request, digital authorization. My phone buzzed. An email alert from the property office. I opened it, and there it was in black and white, ownership. Jake Turner, Holt Enterprises, LLC. My pulse spiked. You forged a company into my deed? Karen finally turned around. Correction. We forged it. Behind me, tires crunched on gravel. I spun around to see a silver Mercedes pull up. A man in a navy suit stepped out. Slicked hair, polished shoes. The kind of guy who never set foot near mud. He walked straight up to the sheriff, flashed a folder and said, I represent Holt Enterprises. This land is under partnership review. Any further action against Ms. Holt would be considered interference with corporate property. Dale's jaw tightened. You've got to be kidding me. Karen crossed her arms, her confidence snapping back like she never lost it. You see, Jake, it's not personal. It's business. You bought land that used to belong to the HOA trust. I just reclaimed what's rightfully ours. That's not how ownership works, I said. You forged documents and vandalized my house. Her lawyer didn't flinch. If you have proof, take it up in court. Until then, she has full access to inspect the premises. I could feel my blood boiling. Over my dead body, Karen smiled sweetly. If that's what it takes, Dale stepped between us. Everyone cool off. No one goes near this house until the county verifies the records. Karen didn't argue. She just looked at me with that fake sympathy and whispered, Hope you like camping, soldier. You're about to lose your roof. She got into the Mercedes, the lawyer right behind her. The car kicked up dust as it drove off, leaving me standing there, staring at the house I might have just lost. Dale sighed. I'll get this checked, Jake. Don't do anything stupid. But I wasn't listening anymore. Because in the corner of my eye, something glinted in the dirt, half buried near the porch steps. I knelt down, brushed the dust away, and found a small metal key attached to a tag that read, HOA Storage Unit 11B. And just like that, the next move was clear. If Karen had hidden something that tied her to the forgery, it'd be in that storage unit. I looked out toward the road where her car disappeared and whispered to myself, You messed with the wrong man's home. The storage unit sat on the edge of town, behind a half-collapsed fence and a faded sign that read, Lakeview HOA Property, Authorized Access Only. The padlock was rusty, but the key fit perfectly. As I turned it, my heartbeat echoed in my ears. When the door rolled up, a wave of dust hit my face, and then behind it, rows of metal shelves filled with boxes. Dozens of them, some labeled HOA archives, others marked only with years, 2015, 2016, 2017, all neatly stacked. I pulled one down, opened it, and froze. Inside were manila folders, property transfer papers, signatures, tax forms, all with the same name printed across the bottom, Karen Holt. Only half of those signatures weren't hers. They were forged. I found deeds from houses I'd driven past on my way into town. Small, cheap homes near the lake that had been reclaimed by the HOA, then resold, some to fake LLCs, some to shell companies, some even listed under people who didn't exist. I snapped pictures of everything. My phone buzzed. A message from Dale. County clerk confirms your deed was altered using a duplicate ID. Fraud case open. Stay where you are, I typed back. Found her operation. Sending proof. But before I could hit send, I heard a noise outside, tires crunching gravel. Headlights swept across the storage rows, blinding me for a second. I ducked behind the shelf, peering through a gap in the metal. The car door opened. Karen stepped out alone. How did you find this place? She said softly, voice echoing in the empty corridor. I didn't move. She walked closer, heels clicking against the concrete. You really don't get it, do you, Jake? The HOA wasn't just about rules. It was a system. Control, money, property, and all flowing through me. I stood up slowly, phone still recording. You forged people's homes into your name. You destroyed families for profit, she laughed, quiet, cruel. And you? You bought one of those homes. You're standing on stolen land, soldier. Maybe you're not the victim you think you are. For a moment that hit hard. My mind raced. What if she was right? What if this mansion had been one of her scams long before I came along? But then I noticed something behind her, a security camera above the door. The red light blinking. I pointed at it. You just confessed on tape. Her smile vanished. She spun around, realizing too late what she'd done. I raised my phone, still recording. Game over, Karen, but she wasn't done yet. She lunged forward, trying to grab the phone from my hand. We struggled for a second, her nails digging into my wrist, until the phone slipped, hit the ground, and kept recording. And that's when the door slammed shut behind her. Someone else had just locked it from outside. Her eyes widened. What the? I turned slowly toward the shadows. A figure stood outside the small glass window, face hidden by the reflection. And then a voice came through. Deep, calm, familiar. Karen, I told you to keep it quiet. She froze. You said you'd handle it. The man stepped closer to the window and I finally saw him, the lawyer from the lake. He smiled faintly. I am handling it. And then the click of a lighter echoed through the metal walls. Flames flickered near the doorway. Jake, Karen whispered, trembling now. He's burning it. The smell of gasoline filled the air. And for the first time, she looked genuinely terrified. The flames spread fast, licking across cardboard boxes and dry paper like they'd been waiting for this. Karen stumbled back, coughing, her eyes wide. The orange glow danced across her face, and for the first time I saw real fear replace that smugness. Move, I shouted, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the far wall. The door was already engulfed, smoke curling into thick clouds. She kept coughing, choking out words between breaths. He said he just wanted the files gone. Yeah, well, he's cleaning up more than that, I snapped. He's burning you out too. I scanned the wall, found a small maintenance hatch near the corner, bolted shut but loose. I kicked it once, twice, and the latch snapped. Cool air rushed through the gap. Crawl, I said, shoving her forward. Karen hesitated. You're helping me? I glared at her through the smoke. I'm not you. We crawled through the narrow tunnel, the heat pressing close behind us. My lungs burned, but I kept pushing until we tumbled out into the grass behind the storage lot. Karen collapsed, coughing hard, dirt streaking her hands. Behind us, the flames roared higher, lighting up the night like a beacon. I pulled out my phone, cracked, but still recording, and switched to the rear camera just in time to catch the lawyer standing by the fence watching the fire. He saw us, froze for half a second, then ran for his car. Not this time, I muttered, raising the phone, zooming in on his plates as he drove off. Karen sat up, tears in her eyes. He was supposed to protect me. He said the HOA trust still had backing from the county. Guess you were just another name on his list, I said, standing up. How many others did you do this to? She didn't answer, just stared at the fire, silent. I called Dale, my voice was raw. Storage unit fire. Evidence inside. I got video of the lawyer lighting it up, full plates. He didn't hesitate. We're on our way. Minutes later, red and blue lights painted the grass. Deputies rushed past, fire trucks screamed down the road. I handed Dale my phone, still warm from the heat. Everything's in there. The files, the confessions, the man behind it. He looked at Karen, sitting in the dirt. She with you? She's done, I said. But she's alive. That's more than her partner planned for her. Karen looked up at me, voice trembling. You don't understand, Jake. He's not just a lawyer. Holt Enterprises isn't a company. It's a cover for something bigger. They buy up foreclosed land, fake HOA violations, then flip it to developers. Hundreds of homes, I froze. And my mansion? She nodded slowly. Just one piece. Sirens wailed closer as the fire hissed and cracked. Dale grabbed the radio, calling it in. I looked back at the flames, my heart pounding hard. If what she said was true, then the mansion, my home, wasn't just another scam. It was a doorway into something way darker. Karen looked at me one last time. They'll come for you next. You've got proof they can't erase. I stared at the burning building, the phone in Dale's hand, the flicker of fire reflecting in the lake beyond. And deep down, I knew she was right. This wasn't the end. It was the start of a war I never asked for, but one I was damn sure going to finish. The fire had burned down to smoke by morning. Charred boxes lay scattered across the field, twisted metal and black ash marking what was once the HOA's dirty secret. Deputies were still combing through the mess when I walked up, hands in my jacket pockets, eyes fixed on the horizon. The lake looked calm again, too calm, like nothing had happened. Sheriff Dale met me halfway. We got a hit, he said, handing me a folder. Inside were photos. The lawyer, whose real name was Andrew Voss, caught on surveillance near the state line an hour ago. FBI's been after his firm for months. Money laundering, forged deeds, fake housing trusts. Looks like you stumbled into a bigger storm than we thought. I gave a tired half smile. Guess I bought more than a lake house. Karen sat on the back of an ambulance nearby, a blanket around her shoulders. She didn't look at me, just stared at the smoke drifting into the sky. When I walked over, she whispered, "They're going to bury me for this." "You buried yourself," I said quietly, "but you can help fix it." She finally looked at me, eyes red, face pale. "I'll testify," she said. "Everything I know about Voss, the company, the fake titles. I'll name every property they took," I nodded. "That's the first smart thing you've done," she gave a weak laugh. "You really think this ends here?" I looked out over the lake where my mansion stood half-ruined but still upright. "No, but it starts to." Over the next week, everything moved fast. County investigators confirmed my ownership. Voss was arrested crossing into Nevada, and Holt Enterprises' assets were frozen. News crews showed up, cameras flashing, turning my burnt property into a headline. "Veteran exposes fake HOA scam. Dozens of families saved." I didn't care about the cameras. I just cared that the lake was quiet again, that the house, broken, battered but mine, was finally safe. A few days later, Dale came by with a grin. "Guess what? County court's ordering restitution. You'll get every cent back they took from you, plus damages." I chuckled. "I don't need their money. I just want peace." He clapped me on the shoulder. "Then you've already won." That evening, as the sun dipped low, I stood on the rebuilt porch staring at the calm water. The air smelled of pine and new wood. The same dashcam that started it all now sat on the railing, still recording just in case. Karen was gone, awaiting trial somewhere far away. But her last words still echoed in my head. "You don't know who's really behind this?" Maybe she was lying. Maybe not. But I wasn't the same man who walked onto this land weeks ago. I took a deep breath, let the wind settle around me, and whispered, "You can take my house, my tools, my peace, but you'll never take my ground." The camera light blinked once, catching my reflection in the lake, a man who'd fought wars overseas, and another one right here at home. Because in America, land isn't just dirt. It's proof you stood your ground and didn't back down, and this time I wasn't going anywhere.